Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, folks, this week we're going to have an exciting show, I think. We're going to talk about pig butchering. Yes, that's a term. That's a term not like on the farm, not like in Kansas where they go out and get the little squealies. No, it's not like that at all. This is how moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas get in trouble online. So we're going to talk about that. So this show is brought to you by millionkids.org. Millionkids.org is an organization. It's just the name of it is Million Kids. But if you want to follow us at millionkids.org. We're a local organization. We've been around for a long, long time. Some days it seems like forever. And our main business is combating things like child trafficking or child abuse, sex trafficking, labor trafficking, money laundering, things like child pornography, commonly known as CSAM, for child sexual abuse materials. That is our business in fighting that. But over the years, we have spent literally tens of thousands of hours of researching these kinds of crimes. And along with it, we have studied a lot of how technology impacts our lives, and especially our lives related to crime and crime solving. And so part of that, in fact, I wrote a book, if any of you are interested in it, called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. That is available on Amazon or also at millionkids.org. But the whole idea of it is how technology has changed our lives. And one of the things that has happened is that it has literally made a welcome mat into all of our homes. There is no place sacred left in our lives. As we go online, we go out, we talk to people we know, we research a lot of data. Sometimes we talk to Siri or Alexa. That's dangerous, in my opinion. I have a cousin that does that. She calls her a roomie, and I'm like, that woman, that roomie of yours talks, tells everything she knows. But technology is changing our lives like crazy. For one thing, we can reach out to the entire world now, and so can your children, but the entire world can reach us. And one of the things that comes to mind is how much this changes our lives, not only as parents, but also as individuals. You know, we worry about kids being sextorted or blackmailed. And in fact, as most of you know, I did a movie. We funded it. It was actually done by Aurora's Media called Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. If you haven't seen that movie yet, please do. It is not at the movie. It's not big like Sound of Freedom. By the way, that is an excellent movie. I highly recommend it. But our movie is called Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. And you can go to sextortionfilm.com and find out all the ways that you can live stream it. It's on Amazon and iTunes and Apple TV. So that movie was all about the ways that total strangers can enter into our child's life and really, cause them great harm. And it usually starts as a relationship, and your child is a participant in it. Well, one of the things I want to talk about today is what happens when it's not a child. What happens when it's you, mom and dad, or you, grandma and grandpa? And how do we prepare people to live in a world without borders? One of the challenges here is that we all want to be loved, and we're used to regular relationships where we interact with people and we get feedback, and there's this kind of sense of protection about, there's just something about that person I'm uncomfortable with. Or, I think I'm going to kind of pull back a little bit in that relationship. Or if they're trying to scam you out of money, it's fairly obvious. And you say to yourself, no way, Jose, I'm not going to do that. But when you go online, it's a lot different because you can't see that. You can't verify that. You can't tell if this person is an upstanding person who cares about you and has strong moral values, or if in fact it's a telemarketer in a third world country out to get your money. Now, we think that all of us, by the way, think that we're not going to get taken, that we're not going to get caught up in it. It won't happen to me. That saying, I can tell you, is the biggest challenge that I have in educating the public, because every one of us thinks it won't happen to them. Well, the problem of it is that we haven't been taught how to evaluate, and how to protect ourselves from people coming into our lives online. Now, some of them are just real obvious. They're coming from Nigeria or something where they don't speak English, and they're wanting money, and it's an inheritance, and all of those kinds of things. And there are still people who fall for that. But one of the problems is so many of us make relationships online with people we don't know. And that includes if you have a widowed or divorced parent or grandparent. Every one of us wants to be loved. And in fact, we're all a little bored here and there. And somebody comes into our life and you start to laugh and you relax and you begin to trust that person. And you don't think about evaluating them or figuring out if they're for real. I look at this on these dating sites, and I'm married, so I'm not on a dating site, but I can tell you that there are many people who've met on dating sites and they have good and healthy relationships. But I want to caution you, because we're going to talk about different kinds of romance scams, and we're going to talk about pig butchering, which is a big deal now online. So I want to share with you a case that just come out in the last month or so. This is from Moreno Valley. Headline: Violent Criminal Attacks Woman He Met Via Online Dating Site. Now, the perpetrator in this case is Rogers. His last name is Rogers, Marquet Deshaun Rogers. In this, what happened is that he ended up assaulting a young lady. He's 41. He met her, she's 19, on a dating site. The two of them met in person. He drove the woman behind a business when they went out on their first date, held a knife to her neck, and demanded that she perform sex acts on him. The victim was able to escape the suspect's car without being harmed. He has an extensive violent criminal history, and deputies called in the felony warrant extradition team, and he's jailed in Riverside on $1 million bail. Thank God, those are hard to come by. But that started out as a date, okay, of somebody that was met online. If you're going to meet up with someone that you meet online, whether you're male or female, you better do your serious background check on them. First of all, never, ever go to somebody's home. Never go to a private place. Always meet in public if you're going to meet. Take someone with you. Make sure that 2 or 3 other people in your family have all the information on that person. Make sure that it's in a public place and somebody is with you. As you begin to look like that this might be a serious relationship, do your background checks. You don't know anything about this person. If they have a photograph online, drag and drop that over to Google Images and find out all the other places that person appears and what other names are they under. How many dating sites are they on? Do they have any kind of history that you need to know about? Google them. Don't be afraid to Google them. If it begins to look serious, then I would certainly pay the money. In fact, I know a person who does this for what it's worth, a private investigator that's very good at it, and run a background check. Because if you're, as an adult, getting into a relationship, you need to know what you're getting into. You need to know who they are, what they do, do they have a great upstanding past? There absolutely should be no shame in doing something like that, because we're adults at this point. We've gathered up some sort of assets. We have dreams and plans for our life. Maybe they got put on hold from some event in your life where you lost a spouse or got divorced. But if you're starting into a new relationship with someone that you met online, take all kinds of precautions. One of the things I'm going to share with you is that you should never, ever engage in any kind of financial transactions with someone that you meet online. Not until you know that person like 6 months or a year, and that you've done all your homework and you know what you're getting into. On top of it, be very careful when you go out to meet up with them, because there are all kinds of case studies. I'm about to give you another one where this goes wrong if you go out there without the proper amount of investigation. This is Opal Singleton. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of eating at the same old restaurants? Let me tell you about a fabulous Italian restaurant we found in Riverside, Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant. Their caprese salad is exquisite with candied balsamic glaze. All of their sauces are special recipes using only the best olive oils. The salads are fresh and healthy. They offer a wonderful array of pastas, including shrimp scampi, capellini, bolognese, and lasagna. They're famous for their gourmet pizza, and you can order online for takeout or have a special date for dining in with family and friends. Mamma Mia's caters special occasions and hosts private events. You have to try it out. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant, located at 10971 Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, 1 block north of La Sierra on Magnolia. That's Mamma Mia's in Riverside. Be sure to tell Michael, Alex, or Joseph you heard it on AM 590 The Answer.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of millionkids.org. I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We're talking about online romance scams, and we're going to be talking about pig butchering. So instead of talking about how to keep your kids safe online, I'm going to turn this around and say how to keep grandma safe online, or grandpa. By the way, grandpas are as vulnerable as grandmas out there online. You know, one of the things that's happening is we're putting our elderly online, and it gets interesting. It really does. I have a 86-year-old cousin that we've got set up online, and she falls for some of the stuff on there, and I'm like, do not be telling these people your private stuff. You don't know who they are. Well, they just wanted to talk, and I'm like, no, they don't want to talk. They're gathering up data on you. So this is a case out of Washington State. A man met up with a woman on a dating app. It happened to be Plenty of Fish. Plenty of Fish, that a lot of people have met on Plenty of Fish and ended up in great relationships. But again, for every good guy that's out there, there are bad guys. I often think about this as kind of like driving up and down on the freeway. There's some good people and some bad people, but somehow when we get online, we don't want to think about the bad people. We want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt because we really can't tell who they are. In this case, it was a first date for a man that met with a woman on an online dating app, Plenty of Fish. What happened is he's 30 years old. He met a woman who said that she was 19. He went to her apartment complex, okay? And I'm going to tell you that is a no, no, no. Even if you're a man, to go to somebody's home on a first date or somebody's apartment or something where it's a confined space, absolutely not. Don't even think about it. If they're trying to get you to do that, then you have to right off the bat question their judgment. So he went to her complex, met her, and then suddenly what happened is a man emerged and pointed a gun at him. We've had this happen right here in Riverside County, by the way. This one happens to be out of our state, but we've had several of these kinds of cases on this. By the way, that's true of selling things online. A lot of times you'll show up to pick up a product, and the next thing you know, somebody is there that you weren't expecting. So what happened is this man had a gun, and he stopped him. He ordered him to take off all of his clothes and hand over his money. And after he stripped nude at the complex, the woman took photos of him, so you can see the blackmail's about to begin. The pair then demanded the victim unlock his cell phone and transfer $6,000 to their account using an app, but the transaction was flagged as fraudulent and it failed to go through. The couple forced the victim to try several other transactions on a variety of apps, going so far as to pose as the victim over the phone to unlock the account. The victim was finally released. Boy, did he get lucky. He was finally released, but the couple threatened that if he told anyone, that they would release his nude photos to everyone in his contact list. And in the end, the victim reported the incident with the deputies there, and they went out and they tracked their social media and their apps and like that and found out who these people were. So what happened, and I'll finish the story here according to this, is deputies showed up at the apartment on a domestic violence assault call. When they arrived, they recognized the male suspect from a date-turned-robbery. Deputies tried to take him into custody. He reached for a gun in his pocket. They were able to place him in handcuffs. He moved the handcuffs to the front of the body, broke the car's interior door panel in an attempt to escape, and broke the top out of the seatbelt fastener to use as a tool to help him. So in the end, they ended up getting him, but this guy's one bad dude. So all of this happened because what happened here is that a 30-year-old met a 19-year-old online, and he went to her apartment for their first date. All of those things are ways that you can get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. I'm going to give you one more, and then we're going to get on to pig butchering, because this is really how they get adults. There's one more case here of a young man who met a young girl on an app. They start talking. She asks him about himself, where he lives. They agreed to meet at his place. That's just not real bright. I'm telling you right now, don't ever get yourself in one of those kinds of situations. They met there. 3 masked men broke into his house, pistol whipped him, and robbed him at gunpoint. Basically, they took all of his gaming stuff and his phone. They drove off, and they crashed their car nearby with all the stolen goods in it. They walk back to his place. He hears them coming. He runs to the back door and hides in the woods. He has a second phone. They steal his car to drive off and pass the police going the other way. He had security cameras set up around his house and was able to reach them, or at least see them through video. He realizes now that when the guys came back to steal the car, they are with the girl he had been speaking to online. So he had been set up. Because of all the security footage with the unmasked girl, the police post it and recognize her. She turns herself in, and they all end up being arrested. My point here is that sometimes you think it's only the girl that's going to get violated in these kinds of cases. No, that's not true. Both parties can be vulnerable. The problem with all of this is that it goes with these fantasy relationships. You meet somebody, it seems exciting. You seem to think you have everything in common. Maybe this is Mrs. Right or Mr. Right. And you take chances, you take chances that you would never normally take. And your children do the same thing. And when you see them doing it, you panic. But when you do it, you say, well, it's nothing's bad going to happen. And you kind of brush it off without being willing to look at the amount of danger that you're put in. And so all of these really come down to some rules. You meet somebody on a dating site, if that's what you're going to do. The first thing you don't do is give out any of your personal information, especially financial information, where all that you work and what you do and where you live. Spend some time getting to know that person. Test out everything that you can test out to find out about who that person is. There's a lot of scams going on around the world. One of the things that's happening, and we see this in the stories of sextortion, is that third world countries all over the world are getting online capability. And literally, they are labor trafficking their young people by putting them into call centers and coercing them and forcing them into doing online scams. Many of them may not want to be there, and many of them may not even get the money that they're earning. But these are high-pressure telemarketing scams, and we're starting to understand that a lot of these are being ran by foreign national cartels in places like Nigeria, Cambodia, I can't think of all of them, Pakistan, Belize, like that, countries where there's a challenge for honest employment, and the young people are very vulnerable. And once they get in there, they can't get back out. And they are forced to do these scams, or they themselves will end up being violated. These kinds of scams get so scary that many young people are starting to take their own lives. One of the first things they'll do, if they can get a compromising video or photo of you, even if it's something that you didn't send them, there's something called deep fakes, where they will take the photo of you and take your head off and put it on a nude body. And then they will show you all the followers that you have on Instagram or maybe on TikTok. And they will show that nude photo. Now, it might not be you, but it doesn't matter if it's your face, somebody's going to recognize it. And they will begin to then blackmail you. So watch out for this kind of thing, and do not be afraid to report it. But if you're going to engage in online relationships, and again, I know many people who have met their spouses, but for everyone I know of that, I hear of others that have been severely blackmailed or severely exploited online because they didn't take all the proper kinds of ways to protect themselves. So we're going to go into pig butchering in the next section. That is an online scam that is absolutely huge now. It may sometimes refer to cryptocurrency, but it is taking in absolutely intelligent, mature adults who normally would not be taken in, all because it looks like a relationship they can trust, and it all seems like a big game with few consequences. The consequences often is that they lose their life savings. So this is Opal Singleton. We are up against this break, so I'm going to ask you to stay with us. We're going to be right back as we talk about online exploitation. Be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift, Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton. I'm the president and CEO of Million Kids. Before we get into pig butchering, I want to first say thank you to all the people who listen to this show and support our show. And so many of you introduce yourself when you see me out in the public, or they'll send me an email at opal at millionkids.org. And I appreciate all your comments. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your interest. And I appreciate you passing along this information to other people. Well, one of the things I want to talk about is online exploitation involving a lot of mature adults, sometimes seniors, but a lot of times they're intelligent working people. And this is called pig butchering. So basically, that refers to the fact that there are now many overseas telemarketing companies, and they will come into your life, and one way or the other, it might be a circumstance kind of thing. It may look like an accident. It may be somebody you're talking to online in a hookup site or a dating site. And the next thing you know, you start to trust. So this is really all about grooming. I wrote a book quite a long time ago that's still available and still good called Seduce, the Grooming of America's Teenagers. Now, many in the LGBT community see that as a slur. I hope not. I care deeply about a lot of LGBT people, and I have quite a few people like that in my life that I just love and know, and they're part of our family. And it is not a slur at all. Grandma can be groomed. 87-year-old men can be groomed. Anybody can be groomed. It doesn't necessarily have to do about your sexual identity or your gender. It has to do with a willingness to allow other people to seduce you, and you fall prey because you want to believe what it is they're saying. The grooming process is often a process used on young girls. Where the gangs will use their gang guys to come in and tell this girl everything she ever wanted to hear, and she falls in love, and the next thing you know, he takes control of her life. Well, that can happen even in the idea of pig butchering. So I've done a lot of research. I want to do a little bit of reading here just so that I get this absolutely right. But it started out right off the bat with U.S. federal investigations are just really sounding the alarm right now that this idea of pig butchering has become a serious epidemic going on across our nation. Many people have lost hundreds or thousands, in some cases millions of dollars, on a complex investment scam known as pig butchering. So what happens is somebody comes into your life online. It can be a variety of ways. Now, it can be on a dating site. It can be on a hookup site. It can be on a Facebook or a Facebook Messenger. But a lot of times you just get a text or maybe a direct message or maybe an Instagram, and it looks like an accident, or, they'll text something to you. So you're thinking, well, this is a passing kind of thing that didn't have anything to do with it. So what is happening here from the FBI? They're saying that it's named for the way scammers feed their victims with promises of romance and riches before cutting them off and taking all of their money. It is run by a fraud ring, not a frog ring, a fraud, an illegitimate ring of cryptocurrency scammers who mine dating apps and other social media for victims, and the scam is becoming incredibly popular. So they went into a series of investigative reports. What they're finding is a lot of this is coming out of Asia. The people creating the phony profiles are usually men and women from China and neighboring countries who have been kidnapped and trafficked to places like Cambodia. where they are forced to scam complete strangers over the internet day and night. So one of the things I want to say is they're not all like that, but many of the people in these foreign national telemarketing companies do not have a choice. Now, we're not going to let them off the hook. That doesn't mean you don't go after them and try to prosecute and arrest where you can. But it also means that you better understand how technology is changing the entire world. I have seen several investigations of Nigerian companies that are doing exactly the same thing. They bring in their young guys, especially you want to play video games for a living. Well, who doesn't want to do that, especially if you're in a poor country? But also, one of the things that we find is that people are kidnapped in very poor countries and taken out and forced into very difficult conditions to make money. Many of you may have seen the movie Sounds of Freedom, where that was exactly what happened. They kidnapped these girls out of South America, this girl and young boy out of South America, and they were sold into a remote area in the Narcos up in Colombia. Now, that isn't the way all that happens here in the U.S. In U.S., what we'll have is a lot of people who fall prey to this because it sounds so good. So you say to yourself, if you got some poor kid from China who's been sold into Cambodia that's trying to seduce you, how good can they be? And that you think that you're going to be so smart, you're not going to fall for it. But that isn't how it works. It says the most prevalent pig butchering scam today involves sophisticated cryptocurrency investment platforms, where investors invariably see fantastic returns on their deposits until they try to withdraw the funding. At this point, the investors are told they owe huge tax bills, but even those pay the phony levies never see the money again. So this comes on for these scams are prevalent on dating sites and apps. They frequently start on what appears to be a wayward SMS. That's like a text message kind of thing, instant message about an Uber ride that never showed up, or a reminder from a complete stranger about a planned meeting for coffee. All of those are frauds that you just get something and you go, well, this obviously isn't for me. And then you start a conversation with them and they begin to get your attention and your trust. And you go, oh, isn't that funny how we met kind of thing. The initial goal is simply to get you to be curious enough to respond. That's all they're after in the beginning. Will they respond? By the way, in sex trafficking, when I train, we talk about being available and vulnerable. Available means you're out there looking at all those sites, and vulnerable is that you'll respond. And if you go in one of those relationships where you start responding, it's kind of like they've set the hook on the fish, and now all they have to do is gently reel it in until they have the whole thing landed. And that's exactly how it happens. When you finally respond, what happens is they'll say, hey, let's talk on WhatsApp. That is a huge hint, whether it is your children or it's you. If you meet somebody online and they transfer you from the app you met on or the dating site or whatever to another app, that is the first sign that you are about to be scammed. Because if you meet in a dating app, they'll say, hey, they're listening to everything we say, which is true. And then they'll say, so let's just talk offline. I'll direct message you or we can email. And that relationship will begin right there. And so what's going to happen here is that should be a red flag right then and there that you hang up, that you block the whole thing, that you walk away and end it right there so that they cannot reach you. So they want you to go over to WhatsApp, where an attractive, friendly profile of the opposite gender will work through a preset script. Keep in mind, these are all people who are sending you stuff by direct messaging or texting, so you can't tell who they are. And it's a script that is written out so that you won't realize that it's coming from a foreign country. And it literally is set at your own situation. For example, a divorced professional female who responds to these scams will be handled with one profile type and script, while other scripts are available to groom a widower a young professional, or a single mom. So this is all very sophisticated. It is a manual form of AI. They start to figure out immediately. They'll know if you start to respond, they will know who you are. They will Google you. They will know all about you. You're not smart enough to Google them, but they will Google you. And they will use the right responses based on where you're at in your life. Are you a lonely, newly divorced man or woman? Are you a professional person? Have you just lost your spouse? Have you moved to a new area? Do you have a new job? All of those will be specially tailored for you to be able to lure you in and make you feel like that you are safe with that person and it's all just a lark and you're having fun. And isn't it interesting how life has given you something special and new? And the next thing you know, you are being groomed for a major, major scam. And that is how it often happens. They fatten up the pig, then they butcher the pig. This is Opal Singleton. We're going to be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton and we're talking about pig butchering. So I'm doing this so you won't be the pig, okay? So you don't get butchered. It's that simple. The idea of pig butchering is they come in, they love you. It's a fluke. It's a one-off. Isn't it wonderful how I've just met this lovely person? And the next thing you know, you start to trust them and they build this relationship with you. And before long, you are doing all kinds of things you never thought you would do with this person, including investing some of your life savings. So this is a quote from Erin West. She's a DA up in Santa Clara County. She said, at first I thought they're one-off cases, and then I realized we're getting these every day. A lot of them are being reported to local agencies that don't know what to do with them. So she gave an example. One woman was a university professor who lost her husband to COVID. So she's a widow. She's lonely. She's spending time online. She doesn't know what to do. She's trying to heal herself. And she's absolutely vulnerable. She got lonely and was chatting online. Eventually ending up giving away her entire retirement. Now, keep in mind, this woman is a university professor, so she's a professional, she's educated, she's obviously disciplined, she's obviously smart, and yet she is lonely. She's in one of those weak spots in her life, and that makes her absolutely vulnerable, and some poor person over in Cambodia whips out the script for talking to lonely widows, and it goes on from there. The DA goes on to say these are horrifying stories that run the gamut in terms of victims, from young women early in their career to senior citizens and people working in the financial services industry. You would think they'd be smarter than that. And yet that's why I'm doing this show, because this can happen to absolutely anybody. All of us want to be loved. And so that makes us vulnerable. When you go online, you can begin to imagine this person to be anybody you want to imagine them to be, that it doesn't have anything to do with the reality of who they really are and what their goals are for you. So they'll start out by saying, hey, this is the food I'm eating tonight. And they'll send you a picture of a pretty setting with a glass of wine. And they're showcasing an enviable lifestyle, not really mentioning about how they got that money. And then later, maybe a few hours or days in the conversation, I made some money recently investing in crypto, kind of sliding into the topic as if this wasn't what they were going to talk about. Curious investors are directed toward an elaborate and official-looking online crypto platform that appears to have thousands of active investors. Many on these platforms include extensive study materials and tutorials. These are sophisticated-looking platforms. These are not one-offs. We're not talking about somebody who's operating out of a tent. This is very well put together. It's all about making money from foreign national cartels that use people to trick other people. And all that money is going to go back to organized crime. New users are strongly encouraged to team up with a more seasoned investor on the platform and to only make small investments that they can afford to lose. So they start warming you up in there, and you start sharing some of this. They're able to see some value increase and maybe even allowed to take some of the money increase so that they're comfortable with the situation. Some investors then need a little encouragement to deposit additional funds, usually generating increasingly higher returns. This DA goes on to say many crypto trading platforms associated with pig butchering scams appear to have been designed much like a video game. Investors' hype is built around upcoming trading opportunities that hint at even more fantastic earnings. There are bonus levels. This is sophisticated, folks. So you getting what I'm saying? Somehow you think if it's coming out of Nigeria or Cambodia that you will be able to recognize it right off the bat. No, this is well put together. And it looks like that you're really making this happen. There are definitely some psychological mechanisms at work to encourage you to invest more. What is so devastating with so many victims is that they lose that sense of who they are. They think they were a savvy, sophisticated person, someone who's sort of immune to scams. I think the large scale of trickery and psychological manipulation being used can't be understated. It's like nothing we've seen before. And they talk about a $5 million loss to a woman named Courtney, who was a divorced mother of 3, and she ended up losing $5 million. She said it started with a direct message. She began to get comfortable with this person on a WhatsApp. They went back and forth about trading strategies. They jointly set up a crypto trading platform, xtb.com. She says, this woman is sophisticated. Okay. She had leverage trading before. He gave me over 100 pages of study material and agreed to help me through the investment. I mean, this is not a small time thing that's going on here. He had her create an account on a website, which was made to be confusingly similar to the official platform. The site promoted several different investment packages, including a starter package of $5,000 upfront investment. In the end, she ended up investing. Her first investment was $265,000. In the end, she lost over $5 million. One of the things that is happening here is once you start losing, then you start chasing good money after bad. And the next thing you know, you put more money in thinking that you're going to be able to do this. And you're still not yet aware that you have been pig butchered. And that is how it works. I hope this is helpful. It's a complex subject to talk about on the radio. But what I want to share with you is anybody and everybody who is building relationships online really should pay attention and set some rules for yourself. Some of the rules that I'm going to give you is number one, never, ever, never, ever, ever engage in a financial transaction with someone you have never met. Never do that right off the bat. I don't care how much fun they are to talk to and like that. But if they're doing that, I want you to just think of yourself of, you're about to lose. You're going to lose whatever it is that you are investing in and maybe more, because a lot of these people get access to the full bank account before it's over. So never engage in a financial transaction with someone online that you've never met. That right off the bat will save you a whole lot of headache. Now, you won't have much fun. You have to give up the fantasy, this thing of having a good time with someone who just thinks you're the salt of the world. And, they even though they've only known you for 3 weeks, they're ready to marry you. Those are all signs that you're in a scam. First of all, if you're in a relationship with someone you met online, if it goes really, really fast, watch out. That's a huge sign right off the bat. Take your time, and a lot of it, and not have it circulated around any kind of financial interaction whatsoever. If you're going to go out and meet up with them, do your homework. Know who they are. Google them. Track down their pictures. Are there pictures in other areas? Do they have a Facebook account that you can look at? LinkedIn. Watch out for LinkedIn, by the way. They really will work a LinkedIn account trying to come in and build that professional relationship of wanting to get acquainted with you. If you don't know who they are, protect yourself right off the bat. If you're going to meet up with them, never go to their place. Never. Okay, meet in a public place. Make sure that several people in your life have all the information on this person. If they say, let's just keep this between ourselves, that's a huge red flag. If you can't be proud of who you are and who you're doing it with, then you probably shouldn't be doing anything. And it's that simple. So know who they are, get some information about them, meet in a public place, protect yourself, make sure your family knows who they are and when you're going and when you're going to be back. That's the first thing right off the bat. And that's as true for men as it is for women. I know men think you can protect yourself, that if you walk in a room with 3 men who have a gun, you're not going to be able to protect yourself. So don't be going over to places to meet up with a girl where you can be entrapped. Be careful what you send online. Absolutely be careful what you do online. If you think that someone you know is being exploited or blackmailed, you can always report it at 1-888-3737-888. I'm going to give you that again. 1-888-3737-888. And be sure and define what you're doing there. You can do that anonymously for what it's worth. But protect yourself and teach your children to protect themselves. Well, my name is Opal Singleton. This is millionkids.org. Thank you for donating at millionkids.org. Tell your family you love them. I'm going to see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.